one thing to the calendar.
Yeah.
Saturday, June 1st at 5:30, right out here, we're going to unveil the new Gateway to the Great Smoky Mountains art. So would love to see everybody there. It's going to be a pretty joyous occasion.
It's been over what, 50 years?
51 years.
51 years
came
since,
down, yeah.
And it's 90, I believe it's 90 days, almost a day that the original was.
1974.
No, the day.
It's the day, 90 years
Yeah.
ago that the original.
They started on May 31st and finished on June 1st.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
The other one was took
John,
down.
does that change the Saturdays event? Wasn't there something on June the 1st that will postpone?
Yes, that's this event.
I thought you said June the 5th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, June 1st.
June 1st. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
June
you.
1st.
Thank you,
June the
Julia.
1st.
You gotta have a lady to keep us all straight here. Okay, if y'all come out, that'd be a historical day for everyone, I promise you. Do we have any public comment?
We have a considerable amount.
Okay,
There.
all right, the rules are, there's a 3-minute time limit, and, the town attorney will be keeping that time limit. All you have to do is say your name, and when you come up, you don't have to give your address or like anything like that anymore, just your name. And please hold your comments to 3 minutes there if you would. And so I will turn that to the town attorney, to our first person, if you would.
Tara McIntosh.
It's omnidirectional, so you don't have to have it. to you.
Okay,
That's
good.
where we hear it.
Actually, yeah, further away. So. Got it. Awesome. Hello, Chuck, Gary, Anthony, Julia, John, Martha. My name is Tara McIntosh. You've seen me here before. I live outside of Waynesville in Clyde, North Carolina. And I'm here first to thank you for adding Pride on Main event to your consent agenda. This has shown me and idea of Haywood County, formerly known as Woke Waynesville. We went through a name change. And all of our LGBTQIA neighbors and allies that your words from last year are not simply performative, but intentional in creating an inclusive community for all. As town officials, as business owners, as even nonprofit leaders, we all have a due diligence because of our power, whether positional, social, financial, to act in ways that are supportive of our minority populations and our minority friends, family, and neighbors. The narrative we create for our youth, for tourists, for LGBTQIA persons and families currently living in our town and rural towns all along the state of North Carolina is being written in these small and big actions right here in Town Hall. We thank you for the opportunity to create a different story about our community with this historic event. Pride festivals and being inclusive is not just good for the economy from a social health standpoint, but also an economic one. To put it simply, Pride is good for business. More than 50% of tourists consider diversity within the local population when choosing their vacation destination. The Pride Festival movement alone is a $2 billion industry that reignites neighborhoods, and we're excited to bring that stimulation to our friends in Frog Level in order to amplify their revenue, give them the attention they deserve for their uniqueness, and change the mental models of anyone who might not understand that the value of events like this for our youth and for our LGBTQIA plus persons and families in rural North Carolina are endless. According to the Trevor Project, 45% of LGBT youth seriously considered suicide in the past year. 14% of those actually attempted. I was one of those youth. When we offer youth the opportunity to engage in events that model their acceptance and belonging by businesses and their direct community, we contribute to lowering those statistics. Your actions and votes today begin the journey of showing our youth and community that who they are is worthy of a celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sam Carney?
Hi there, I'm Sam Kearney. I've never been to one of these before, so this is really exciting. I just want to say that I love this town. I've moved all up and down the East Coast. North Carolina has been my home for longest, and Waynesville specifically has been my home for longest. I'm lucky enough to have recently opened up a business in Frog Level. It's a quaint little mocktail bar. I'm just here to help support my community in any way that I can, and I think that there is a mistruth that's being passed around that every single person who owns a business at Frog Level is against the Pride on Main. And I just wanted to be on record saying that that is not true. I am one of many businesses that absolutely support this. We see not only the benefit for our community, but let's just talk numbers. It's a benefit for our businesses. Every time there is an event down in Frog Level, the businesses definitely profit and have a great time. And I want to profit and have a great time. So thank you so much. I'll let somebody else talk now. Thank you.
Sarah Lavini? Lavery, excuse me.
Hello, and this is also my first time at a town hall meeting, and it's an honor to speak before you. I want to, first of all, come out for Memorial Day. Thank you to all the veterans in the room, and thank you for all of those who have given their lives for us to live free, which leads me to talk about our flag. Before it was the Stars and Stripes, I'm sure we're all familiar with the Gadsden flag, one that represented the strength in numbers against an evil, potentially a greater evil that was far away that no one could imagine. Now, I want to remind everybody that something as visible as a parade does not exclude the fact, does not dismiss the existence of a population of people. So when we think about our flag now, think about colonies. Now we think about the snake and the tail that was so powerful in joining 13 colonies. I would like everybody to remember that those 13 colonies did not always agree, that we live in a United States, we live in a republic, and celebrating others shows our strength. So I just wanted to thank you all for having this on your agenda, that a Pride Parade is simply, for some, acknowledging a little bit of a more colorful rainbow in the air. And for others, it's a celebration of existence that was perhaps not looked upon prior. So thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you for having this on your agenda. And thank you for recognizing that now, before and forever, there is diversity in Sherwood County, in North Carolina, in Waynesville, and in all of America.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ray Rains?
Hi, Gray Rains. Not the first time or the last time I've been in front of this council. Excited to discuss something important to us, not nearly as important as the folks that came before me, but it is something that makes Waynesville so important and such an amazing town. We're working on a project to the left of number 10 Fairway. It's gotten built a lot of controversy, a lot of faults. It's something that we're often referred to as the developer, or we're referred to not by name. And I wanted to come before the council and say, I'm Gray Rains, and managing partner of the Rains Company. 3 years ago, we made a significant commitment to the town of Waynesville, and we've demonstrated that by action. We've come in, we've completely renovated we've renovated the golf course. As during the course of this process, our track record has come into question, our commitment to the town has come into question, and I wanted to reassure you that that commitment has never wavered in the least bit. Through multiple town halls, employment of local professionals to help build a plan that was not just for only the good of our property, but also a thoughtful approach to the entire community. On behalf of over 60 associates currently employed at them, hundreds of members, I just wanted to hear from me personally about how we are excited about not just this project, this phase of the Waynesville Winter Golf Club, but really the next phase and the next phase after that. So thank you for giving me a few minutes. Just wanted to say hello and look forward to speaking with you later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Patrick Bradshaw. Almost called you Patricia, but I caught myself just in time.
That would be my mom. I'd be flattered. I'd be flattered. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. Again, my name is Patrick Bradshaw. I'm with Civil Design Concepts, and we represent Waynesville Winter Golf Club, as you know, along with the Raines Company. When I noticed that tonight's agenda did not include any public input associated with Longview Conditional District Map Amendment, I thought that this might be an appropriate place to just share a few thoughts. As you know, the developer, as commonly referred, made the initial submittal in February of this year. At that time, the project had a total of 9 requests for relief from the current land development standards. After two planning board meetings, 2 neighborhood meetings, multiple public hearings in front of this council, and most recently, a meeting with the town attorney and 2 specific council members, we've arrived at the meeting this evening. What was begun as a total of a request for relief from 9 items has been fundamentally whittled down to 3. Lot size, which we have increased to meet council's request of 0.33 acres. Setbacks, which were agreed to allow 20 feet between houses, between structures. That would be the same fundamental distance as if conventional 10-foot setbacks were applied to a conventional lot, and driveway separation. Those are the 3. I'd simply remind this board, as I'm sure you recall, that only a couple of weeks ago, you approved the Greenview development just up the road with actually a larger number of requests. As part of our discussions with the town attorney and council members present last week, there was even further fruitful negotiation towards the granting of an easement for a sidewalk along Longview and what is commonly known as either Nineveh or Country Club Drive, depending on which map you choose to look at, but towards the primary entrance of the property. The developers made significant concessions with regard to height of the proposed homes from 60 feet down to 35, and those are measured from different points, so there's actually probably another 12-foot wind there to the adjoining properties. I trust that you've given appropriate consideration to the process that has played out, and I hope you'll give every consideration to supporting the project this evening. I don't want to see all the good work that's been done between the developer and the town be wasted. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to your decision later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Clint Cockburn.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Clint Cogburn. I'm a land use attorney with the law firm Ward & Smith. I spoke before this council a couple weeks ago. I represent a group of property owners directly across from the Longview Drive proposed development that you just heard about and you've heard about previously. I do want to convey my thanks to the council for considering this, for pushing back against what was the initial application. I do want to thank Patrick Bradshaw and his client for going back and examining what they could do. That being said, and speaking with my clients and reviewing what was just submitted late last week, we do believe that it is insufficient. We believe that it is still too general, it is too speculative, doesn't provide the necessary certainty and protections to my clients as adjacent property owners. And I say that because one of the predominant concerns still remains, which is lot size. Now, they have come back with this proposed plan of 0.33 acres, but in the discussions we have had, what has been indicated is that they will provide an easement to the golf course for the benefit of the golf course. So fundamentally, the lot size, although it will show up as 0.33 acres, won't fundamentally be changed in terms of the impact to the surrounding area. So I do believe council needs to consider that when deciding whether or not to move forward from a policy standpoint of improving this, because again, fundamentally, it's not going to change anything from where they were 2 weeks ago, and that remains a considerable concern. In addition to the setbacks and some of the impacts from a height perspective. We also wish that some of this had happened much earlier. As I conveyed to council, I was retained a couple months back and reached out multiple times to discuss the possibility of conditions, see if we could work through something as part of kind of what was, I will call, the initial footprint proposal. And what I will say is, although certainly appreciate all of Mr. Bradshaw and his client's work, there really wasn't substantive engagement until the final hour, and when this council indicated it was looking towards potential denial of that project. And so my clients still remain open to trying to find a solution to this. They've stated that from day one. This is not coming from an adverse position, but one where they have to protect their interest in their property. And so they believe that what has been submitted, although a slight step in the right direction, doesn't meet the ordinance, doesn't meet the future land use plan. And you'll hear from a couple of those folks, but we would ask the council respectfully deny that.
Thank you, sir.
Harry McCracken.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. I'm Harry McCracken. I'm here to talk about development on Longview. And it's probably my 6th or 7th meeting on this project. Been studying it since February, trying to find a way to make it work and live with it. And the more I've studied it, the less I like it. And I guess what brought it to a head with me is my neighbor and Jerry and I took a measuring pole out there and sent you all photographs of that, showing what 35 feet looks like in front of our house. It's very invasive. I mean, it blocks so much of our view, and it's just going to change the character of our neighborhood permanent. So I am not on board with it. I would respectfully ask that you not approve it tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Jerry Gilbert.
I am Jerry Gilbert. My wife and I own the property on Longview. We're here tonight to say we thank y'all for allowing us to spend time talking to y'all. We're still opposed to it. We were riding by there today and my wife had a comment, which I had thought about. We were riding up Longview. She said, you know, Jerry, these houses are just going to ruin the view of looking at that country club, as well as looking at the golf course. And to be quite honest with you, I had not looked at it like that. I looked at it from probably a selfish perspective from my house. And when you ride up through there, that's a beautiful view. And I think at the last meeting, one of the ladies had a brochure and they talked about that being the crown jewel of the golf course. They took pictures back in the 50s. You know what? It is a crown jewel. And I will agree that Mr. Raines has done a beautiful job with that golf course. I ate there last night. I am a member, and but I'm opposed to putting 12 lots in that small of area. It does not keep up with the 2035 land plan that y'all put in place. And if it was closer to 0.50, I would certainly concur with that. As Harry and I went out a few days ago and measured the height, 35 feet, it's intrusive. I mean, I'm gonna tell you. But not only not being selfish, like Linda said, riding by there. That's a beautiful area to look at. And that's going to ruin that for all the people that ride through that area. So I would ask that tonight when y'all vote against this. I'm not opposed to them putting houses in other areas, but I just think that would ruin that golf course. I think last night when I was eating over there, I looked from the clubhouse. I don't think it's going to look good from the clubhouse. As I said, I'm a member. So that's my position, and I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Haynes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Matt Haynes. I am Vice President of Operations for Premier Magnesia, also known here in Waynesville as Giles or Giles, as it may be. I want to speak to the Longview development as well. Over the last 15 years, we've experienced and been blessed with growth here in Waynesville, including moving of our corporate headquarters here. Our capacity is up 400%. Our employment's up 600% in the last 15 years. And so obviously we consider Waynesville a partner. Historically, our corporate visitors and business associates have stayed and been entertained in Asheville because Waynesville lacked sufficient higher-end traditional hotel accommodations. Waynesville Inn and Golf Club offered us the opportunity for business guests from all over the country to stay in Waynesville, which can potentially lead to positive impacts well beyond simple food and accommodation sales of the visit. This flow of business travel can certainly lead to future business development and/or tourism for the area. I support the Longview development as proposed, as I see it as a appropriate and best use for the property, and more broadly to aid in the longer-term stability of Waynesville Inn and Golf Club. I appreciate the investments made by the developer in our community, and I don't want to see similar investments discouraged in the future. Thank you. Thank you.
Patrick McDowell.
Alderman, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I know most of you because of my time on the Waynesville Planning Board, 18 years, 14 years plus as the chairperson. So I've been in your seats and understand the difficulty of sitting when there's public disagreement on what should happen. Two of you I served actually with. The third I've actually done a great deal of business with. However, what this is about what is allowed in the area, what could be allowed in the area. I truly believe this is the best use of the area described because additional options are available to the Raines Corporation. And not every resident that is nearby understands that. You, as people who understand the zoning in the area, understand what additional options are available for Raines Corporation and could be presented before the board and would need to be approved if they were presented because they meet regulations associated with the town of Waynesville. I was part of the group that actually approved those resolutions, as well as yourselves. Waynesville Country Club was going through a very difficult time when I served. And we made and you approved regulations that will allow that entire area to be housing. That was a real possibility for the town of Waynesville before the current ownership came into being. They restored the inn to the prominence it was. It was recently recognized as a number 11 golf course that people could actually play, which means people would come and participate and be in Waynesville at this location. However, if they hadn't invested and made the opportunity here, that very much could have been nothing more than tract housing, which was approved by both the planning board and the town council. We need to realize that when people ask for their view to be protected, I deal with this as a realtor very often. These homes are well below the elevation of across the street. Their view is protected by the elevation change. That's great for them. However, when they built their homes, the people behind them might have felt the same thing. Currently, this is the best option available for both the neighborhood and for the Raines group. However, if this is denied, they very well may be before you in the future with something that the residents don't like as much and is need to be approved because it is allowed in the zoning. So I encourage you to help both the neighbors and the Raines group by approving the current program before you. Thank you very much.
Lene McAden.
My name is Linnea McAden. I live on Longview Drive. Thank you for all the thought and hard work you guys have put into this project for the Rains Corporation development. I still have 3 concerns as far as after the negotiations. I believe y'all talked about 0.33 acre would be possibly sufficient. However, if that's easement is given back to the golf course, it's certainly not going to be of use to the home buyers. And the key issue that most of the residents have discussed with me has always been the width of the lot as far as the density of the housing. Patrick had suggested earlier that in an earlier meeting that I can't remember the number he gave, but that the largest majority of the properties were 0.3 acres or slightly above on Longview, but he was addressing the entire length of Longview Drive. The ones that are directly in front of the development, the properties that are already developed, they range from 1.89 acres to the smallest one being 0.34. Primarily, they are near half acre or more than a half acre. And they're all, except for one, over 100 foot wide. So to be consistent with the neighborhood, I still hold that we should make the lots wider. My second concern is, should it be approved, if y'all could consider the landscaping, instead of having the canopy trees, as they're called, if y'all could consider the understory trees so as not to get so tall as to block the views entirely again as they were before. And I want to stress how important the sidewalk is to the community. This is a very walkable community. I mean, very popular as far as people wanting to come there and walk because of the view. And we have people from all walks of life out there with dogs and children, elderly people, young people, and there's no place to get off the road. I personally walk with a service dog. He's my mobility dog. There is not a safe place in that entire neighborhood for me to take my dog for a walk, or even for him to work with me, because there's simply no room on the road. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Annette Braun.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Annette Brunn. I live on 103 Surrey, which is adjacent to the Longview Drive overlooking the property. And I guess before I get into the Longview part, I noticed that there's a lot of people here to support a parade, gay pride. I'll give my support to that too. All right. I followed this application from the beginning. And the main concern that I and many neighbors in the adjacent properties have had is the housing density of 12 lots in such a small space. I see both sides. I hear valid comments, both sides, but I also feel like there's room for a compromise to help. And that would be to help reduce the number of lots, to reduce that density. It is that lot width that was mentioned earlier that faces Longview Drive that makes a difference. 12 houses side by side is just too dense for such a well-established neighborhood. So I hope that you will keep that in mind as an option as you have the debate over this decision later. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. That's it. Okay, thank you all for your public comments. It's very important to us to hear from y'all. So thank you all so very much. Okay, we'll move on to additions or deletions to the agenda. Does anybody have any additions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we add an item to the agenda, that we enter new business after item 7, and that would be the appointment of a member to fill a current vacancy on the Waynesville Housing.
I'll second that, Mayor. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, so like sign.
Mayor, it would be my honor to make a motion to accept consent agenda.
Okay, got a motion to accept. Second, accept. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, so like sign. Okay.
Go ahead and do number 4 now.
Okay, we'll do.
Can we make clarity that we just approved the permits for the Pride Parade?
Thank you.
We got a motion?
Yep, that was, we did that through consent.
Well, no, he was talking about changing the
Oh, yes.
order of the agenda to move Longview up.
I'll make a motion to move Longview to item 3 before the budget.
Okay, got a motion to move item second. Julie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, we're.
The council recalls that this matter is back on the agenda because you closed the public hearing at the last meeting and scheduled the vote to take place at this evening's meeting to allow for time to negotiate conditions with the developer. The materials reflecting the summary of that meeting and various options available to the board have been provided to you in the packet. So I'm happy to entertain questions, provide more background, or the board can vote as it sees fit.
Okay.
Can we get those doors closed, please?
Yeah. Thank you, Julia. I can hear everything.
I didn't hear hardly anything you said.
Okay, sorry. For the benefit of those who couldn't hear, as the council knows, this matter was on its agenda at the last meeting for a public hearing. That public hearing was held and closed. So no more evidence can be received by the board this evening. Since then, according to the board's instructions, I, along with several other members of town staff and John Piker and Anthony Sutton, met with the developer to negotiate conditions to present to the full board for consideration. Materials in your agenda packet are available online and were provided to the board to summarize that meeting and the conditions that the developer was willing to accept. We have provided you with various options for the board to move forward with, depending on the inclination of the individual members. So I'm available to answer more questions to the council if you so choose, or the board can proceed with a motion if it feels ready without discussion.
Okay. Chuck, do you have any further discussion? No. Joey, do you have any further discussion? John?
No, sir.
Anthony?
No, sir.
Okay, are the decision made? I will need a motion made and.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we find the conditional district map amendment as proposed by the applicant as being inconsistent with goals 2, 3, and 4 of the 2035 land use plan and not in the public interest, in that it does not create a range of housing opportunities choices by promoting a diverse housing stock, including market rate workforce housing and affordable options that appeal to a variety of households. It does not protect or enhance Waynesville's natural resources by encouraging park and greenway development to protect watersheds and improve access to open space, or by protecting rural lands, iconic views, and mountain vistas. And it does not protect or promote Waynesville's cultural resources by investing in preservation, restoration, and promotion of Waynesville's history.
Okay, is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Anyone have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign. Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, also move that we deny the conditional district map amendment as proposed by the applicant.
Got a motion to deny.
Second.
Second. John, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so like sign. Okay. All right. We shall move back to item 3.
Thank you, Mr.
Do you want to
Mayor.
give the room time to clear? We'll be
Uh,
fine for-
We'll take a second here to give the room time.
Although I don't think anyone since no one wants to miss a minute
Of the
of
budget.
Rob's
I'm
budget.
surprised everyone's leaving before we talk about budgets.
I'm not sure I want to follow that either. Why don't we go out and look at your stuff?
Yes. Okay.
Let's just go enjoy the sun for a while. Forget the budget.
Come back and
They come back from town now. And nothing you can do. So we should,
it's gonna. Now it's the old crowd, not the old crowd, the normal crowd. I'll rephrase that, the normal crowd.
The loyal
The
crowd.
loyal
The
crowd.
loyal crowd. Thank you. That's right. Trying to stick with the temper of the evening, I'll try to keep this to 3 minutes. The fiscal year 2024-25 proposed budget is the last budget based on the 2020 quadrennial revaluation. The last year in the valuation cycle finds real estate values lagging the market. The upcoming 25-26 revaluation will true up the tax values with the market and provide the town with an updated tax scroll. Despite the comments regarding rampant growth in Waynesville, the ad valorem tax scroll has only increased an estimated 4% or $211,500. That's the equivalent of 1.28 cents on the tax rate. Sales taxes returned to its traditional increase of 4% in line with the rest of the state, increasing about $180,000. Increases in interest rates will result in $100,000 in investment income. To meet the demands of inflation and the pressure of hiring and retaining employees, the staff recommends the City Council increase the ad valorem tax rate by 3.8 cents per 100 valuation. As the town's experiencing only modest growth in revenue, it's being pressured by the competition for its employees. 48% of the new general fund spending that your staff recommends is dedicated to keeping the town's wages and benefits within Western North Carolina's employment market. Our salary recommendations simply keep Waynesville in line with the state and local governments. We recommend that employees receive a 2.5% cost of living increase and the ability to earn an additional 2.5% if they meet their career development goals. Police are facing increased pressure to hire and retain employees from neighboring departments. We recommend that law enforcement personnel salaries be compensated based on an entry-level salary of $47,000. The rate is still below other agencies in our area when but when coupled with our career development program, it does place Waynesville in a competitive position. The town will also increase its contribution to the state and local government's retirement system as mandated by the state treasurer. The town's utility funds are also being affected by unfunded mandates, such as the mandate to reduce inflow in our sewers, as well as a mandate to relocate power and utility lines along Russ Avenue in the Walnut Street corridor. The federal and state governments have added a new level of bureaucracy by requiring that the town inspect every sewer outflow every year to check for leaks and also locate lead in service lines in private homes. The state and federal mandate that the state inspect and record the condition of its sewer outfalls and water detention facilities put a burden on us, and we will recommend that you have an entry-level planning position added simply to make those inspections and keep up with that state and federal paperwork. Rather than place the expense of the new mandate entirely on the general fund, your staff recommends the council establish a new utility fund called the Stormwater Utility. The Stormwater Fund is based on the area of a parcel that is impervious to water, such as building or a parking lot. Landowners will be charged a fee based on the amount of impervious surface on their property. The impervious surfaces increase the speed and quantity of the runoff into the town's waterway. The excess runoff increases erosion of street banks, introduction of chemicals from leaking vehicles, and the addition of waste such as drink cups and paper bags. We estimate that we can hold water and sewer rates at the same level as they are currently. And we recommend a 7% increase in electric rates to pay the $1,054,000 contract to relocate the services along Russ Avenue and Walnut Street required by DOT and install the services in new residential areas for which we have electric service. The town's experiencing an increase in calls for first response medical and traffic-related police responses. We recommend that the town council approve 4 firefighter positions, 2 be hired in August and 2 being hired in January. We also recommend that the council approve a 25% match for a grant that would provide 2 additional police officers. The council recognizes that the town has a continuing need to renew its equipment, purchasing supplies, and train its staff. A number of pieces of equipment have been in use for over 20 years and are simply worn out. Such items as leaf shredding machines, cardio exercise equipment, and meter reading devices have repeatedly failed and must be replaced. The total budget, including water, sewer, electric, and stormwater, amounts to $38,069,790. And finally, one of the council's principal goals is to design, fund, and construct a new fire station in Hazelwood. The 24-25 budget funds the engagement of an architectural firm to bid, design, and construct fire station number 2. We anticipate the design process to take about a year, the actual construction a second year. As the town approaches the construction phase of Station 2, it'll apply to the North Carolina Local Government Commission for permission to seek to borrow up to $6 million for that project. If it all goes as planned, Fire Station 2 should come online in the fall of 2027. The council has previously set a public hearing on the proposal for June 11th at 6 p.m. here in the council chamber. We'll be present at that meeting for a more detailed overview of the budget during that hearing. Your budget staff appreciates the time and attention that you've given to the needs of the town, a number of hours so far. We look forward to continuing the process over the next few weeks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Showing this in.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate all the hard work the staff has put in for this budget and the many hours that this board has put together to come up with a budget. I don't want to prolong the process. However, I would like to see a budget that increases the police starting rate to $48,000 and see what that would do to our tax rate.
We can certainly bring you that option
Okay.
during your public hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That's not the 49,000 that was requested, but it is a halfway between what we approved and what was requested.
John, do you have any?
Totally agree. Would love to see that 48. I think it sends a strong message to our police officers that we value them and we have, as a entity, the town has worked very hard to attract and retain police officers, and I hate to see all that hard work go to waste. I am very pleased that we're going to be able to hire the 4 firefighters, and I do have 2 small questions, but I think I will hold those to the public hearing.
Democratic. Computation.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm happy. I'm happy now.
Okay, Julie.
I really don't have much comment, just to say that, you know, I think that we're kind of we're raising the tax rate and raising salaries, and it pretty much is a wash. So we are compensating to raise something and asking the taxpayers the same thing. And I think, you know, we're neutral at that point. I understand the tough times that the individuals and people in our community that facing inflation and things are going on. And so, unfortunately, I will not be supporting this budget.
Should. Oh, no. No comment.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we receive the 2024-25 manager's proposed capital and operating budget.
Okay, motion to approve.
To receive the budget.
The fees in the budget.
Yes, we have to receive the budget from the manager.
Receive the budget.
Okay. And this is at 3.8, correct?
It's just we're
This is
receiving the
from the
budget.
town
We're
to
not
review it.
taking any action.
Okay, yes. Okay. I have a second.
I second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Folks, show light sign. Okay. All right. Your Honor, you have a little more work to do.
I'm out of breath. Okay.
I bet you are.
It'll just get worse. At the request of Councilman Sutton, we placed an item from a merchant in the Hazelwood community on the agenda tonight, and she had several issues that I'd like to address and receive your guidance. The first request she made was that there was a if we will, a mud hole between the railroad right of way and the end of the sidewalk near her business. We actually had that filled by the previous board meeting. The second issue she has is that she'd like a 15-minute loading and unloading zone placed in front of the business. That's not an issue. We simply ordered at your request, ordered the sign, place it. There's currently a handicap space in the second space near her. If we wanted to convert that to a standard parking space, we'd have to make sure that in terms of measurements with the ADA that we can find a replacement for that handicap parking space. As you know, we've got considerable handicap spaces in the lot itself. I just have to make sure that we aren't required to have one on the street. you could, convert that up to a regular parking spot. The last question she had, is that we take the parking spaces nearest the commercial buildings and restrict them to 1 or 2 hours. As you know, your downtown technically has a 2-hour limit on it already, but you've never designated a time zone for either the Hazelwood or the Frog Level lot. That being said, we all met. Chief decided to go to Israel, so he didn't have to attend the meeting, but Chief Gilmore was there. And the issue we have is not, we believe that there's probably a need to limit parking nearest those buildings, but it is very difficult to enforcing civil parking citations. The ones that choose to pay for them, pay for them. The ones that throw them away, you end up spending hundreds of dollars in small claims court trying to get a judgment that you never collect on. And then you also have visitors that may spend more than 2 hours that get pretty angry when they get a $5 parking. We could place 2-hour parking signs in that area and urge voluntary compliance as we do downtown. No, I didn't expect a lot of laughter there. As you know, there are a lot of people that try to abide by the 2-hour spaces downtown, and there are a lot of people that park right in front of their businesses for 8 hours a day. The issue is whether you want to get into the business of citing. We have tried, I've talked to both of the owners of the majority of the businesses about the parking situation. One stated that he encourages all of his renters to park behind the buildings. The other one feels like there are too many employees parking in the 81 space lot. I sent a letter almost a year ago to the folks and asked that their employees park behind their buildings or as far back near the restrooms as they possibly can. But that's the extent of what the town's done so far. I've also had to say I heard the same, I think probably every 2 or 3 weeks about downtown parking, and I've heard it lately about Frog Level that employees are parking in the town lot. So it's not just a Hazelwood issue. It's an issue that we all face. I will remind the new board members that you had 31 spaces on a gravel lot with a couple empty buildings in 2016, and now you have 81. So you have tried. So I just ask your guidance as to what you'd like us to do.
Mr. Mayor, I've spoken with Chad Brown, and he would like to say a few things if that's acceptable to the council.
Sure. Absolutely.
Good evening. I'm Chad Brown, owner and operator of Hazelwood Gun and Tactical on 495 Hazelwood Avenue. My family has had a business on Hazelwood Avenue since 1989, and I'm here this evening to address the proposal parking changes along Hazelwood Avenue. I have printed and read the letter from the merchant that has attached along with the recommendation to the town about parking in Hazelwood. In this letter, there are things that I know personally to be untrue. As of this meeting, I have personally not received a letter or any other communication from the town. The one ADA spot that is available on that side of the street isn't just for their building. There are several people who, on occasion, will use it when needed. Why take away one ADA spot on our side of Hazelwood Avenue? I did, however, talk to the other business owners or tenants on Hazelwood Avenue. They have not been contacted by the merchant or the town. I'm only going to mention a few for time's sake. They all have signed and not in favor of the sign changes that's on the 4th and 5th pages I give you. The tenant does not own her property. She rents it from Jack Morris. I did meet with him this morning before he went out of town, and he is very unaware with any problems with parking. And he is not in favor of changing the current parking in front of his building. He has written a statement to that effect. I have included that with the papers I have given you this evening. I also spoke to the owner-manager of Beach Mountain. They also were unaware of the issue of parking and are not very much in favor of time parking. At the busiest time, they can have anywhere from 45 minutes to over an hour wait time just to be seated. So how is having time parking a benefit? John Bergen would have been here tonight to speak for himself, but he has other business obligations to address tonight. As of 9 this morning, when I met with him, he stated he has not been in contact by the merchant. He is the owner of several business locations on Hazelwood Avenue. He is also not in favor of any changes to the current parking in Hazelwood. I feel that time parking and or 15-minute loading zone would hinder business versus helping businesses in the Hazelwood Avenue. The proposal to change the parking in front of the merchant business to a loading zone would not only affect her, but would affect the business of Paxson Phoenix. That's the new business that just opened up. Upon speaking to the owner, Jessica, she is not also in favor. To my understanding, these two spaces are public parking spaces and not those of Farm to Cake Factory. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, you have this before you.
I spent some time down there this weekend. First, thank you for doing the, putting the gravel and stuff next to the mud hole, but we got a lot of rain this weekend. I think they need to revisit that one more time, which I think staff will do. As far as the ADA space, there's only 2 spaces in that area, and one of them is ADA. So it limits. I would still like to move the ADA to a better place, to open up that to more people. It's ADA, but there's not a clear way to get out of that space to get on the sidewalk.
Is the space directly in the front of her?
That is the
handicap
ADA.
right now?
Yes, it's directly in front.
That would open up and have 2 parking places there.
Right.
That would be a good idea.
I'm not for timed parking in that area. That's just never going to work. But I am for relocating the ADA or making sure that we have enough spaces in the parking lot that would cover that.
We could do that in the parking lot, but
we have ADA spaces in the
Our
lot.
parking lot is compliant with the ADA rules.
Right. So I don't know what the rules are for having it on the
I'd
street.
have to call Preston and actually check to see the distancing, and it's possible that the ADA spaces closest from our lot would meet the guidelines and we wouldn't need them at all.
Yeah.
I would also point out that there is no crosswalk in the middle there since we removed that hump.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah. Well,
The water hazard.
the
The water
problem,
hazard. The lake maker.
yeah, the problem I understand is that we would have to do ADA, right?
Yes,
If
that's
we
the
did a
issue.
crosswalk
And
there.
when we looked at the ADA, it created the flood again into that business. As you know, there's no sidewalk here. The whole issue
It's
is,
about this tall, what is it?
yeah, about an inch and a half.
Is there a way
tall.
to put a crosswalk somewhere else?
Well, there's one down at the intersection, but
This, and Hazelwood is all under the floodplain. That's what causes the flooding issues.
The only thing I think you could safely do if you put a crosswalk up is you'd have to have a blinking flasher to warn people. Otherwise, we're putting people in danger just walking across it. And there's a lot of traffic there, so there'd be a lot of lights flashing. We really looked at another crosswalk, but we fought it especially with some of the elderly. They couldn't get across the parking lot up the lot fast enough to not put them in danger. And so that's the reason we didn't replace it.
Yeah.
But I am for moving that one handicap parking spot. That makes perfect sense.
I would
For,
certainly-
and I don't know if they would be willing to put it in front of their business. Well, there is no parking in front of the business across the street.
You have any further comment, John?
I would be very interested in seeing what the president said.
Okay.
We can bring that back.
Yeah. You guys have any comment?
No, I certainly do not.
Okay. Do you need any action from the board about it?
No, we'll bring back a report to you about where we would relocate.
Yeah, but I don't think time parking or loading zone would do any good in Hazelwood at all.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
Okay. We'll move on.
I wish we could, but that we talk about meters, but we don't want to walk down that road. Or Hazelwood, please, no.
We'll move on to new business, audit of poll attachments. Rob,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
again.
In 2016, UTEC brought a recommendation to the staff to raise your poll attachments to $25. I was unaware of that recommendation until a few weeks ago. In talking with Misty before she left, one of our utilities stated that we need to do an updated pole attachment inventory if we want them to pay their pole attachment fees. Generally, these things are done anywhere around 5 years. To my knowledge, they certainly haven't been done since I've been here. I've been here 7.5. It's been $8 for decades. The current market rate is at 25, and if you remember, you have set that rate at 25. It is already 25. But in preparation for January 1st, when we send out the pole attachment agreements, if we had an up-to-date pole attachment inventory, then we could send an accurate inventory to every one of the folks that attached our poles. And as many of you know, we're negotiating with a small wireless corporation to put 5G in. They'll be also attaching to the pole. So what this pole attachment agreement does is it takes the GIS inventory of poles and circuits done by UTEC back in 2015, 14, and 15, and their employee will come in and physically locate every AT&T Spectrum line. There are private companies that sneak that literally sneak cameras for their customers and screw them into poles. A lot of the private security companies do that. They certainly don't call. And because they want to pay the agreement. So I recommend that we have money in the current budget to carry out this process, and we'd have a fresh, updated pole attachment audit for the upcoming billing year, January 1st, as well as an audit for the new company coming in, so they can see what's on the pole. I recommend that to you for approval.
I have one question. Do you think that the audit will generate enough revenue to cover the audit fees?
Probably not in the first year,
but it will.
Certainly will for the next 5 or 6.
Okay.
And I think that a company could logically argue that we have such an antiquated pole attachment inventory that they would object to paying. And they objected last year and said, well, we'll pay it this year, but we're not gonna pay it next.
It will be 10 years old by the time they.
If
get the
we,
bill.
if we collected $2,500 or $25 per pole, that's $70,000 a year compared to,
Right.
22,000 at $8. So
It's an endeavor worth taking.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
Mr. Heights, I have a question. I'm not sure if we have a complete accurate inventory of streetlights. Is it possible to have the, folks doing this survey to survey the streetlights that are on this and the type of bulb that's in?
I knew that was coming.
That's a very good idea.
So there'll probably be an amendment to it. Won't be a big one since he's out there counting anyway.
Well,
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, good.
I do. And it'd be it'd be a baseline for us to use to continue to change over our,
Incandescent to.
from
save lots of
incandescent
money by
mercury
changing out
vapor,
the
low
bulbs.
sodium.
That will probably pay for it.
Yeah, so I'll see that's added to the contract. Yeah.
That's your motion.
Sure.
Motion, I'll second the motion to approve the contract with UTEC.
Why don't you add, let's go up to 60 and hope I can get it to 60.
Okay.
Between up to, do your thing up to 60. And hopefully that'll cover any additional costs.
I move we approve the contract with UTEC, to conduct a pole attachment survey as well as a survey of streetlights up to 60,000.
Second.
Motion,
Yes.
second by Anthony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So
Yeah,
like sign.
and this is an electric fund expenditure, not coming out of the general.
Okay. Move on to interview just for planning application, Jesse. We'll have an addition after this, correct? Yeah, that's correct.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor. The planning board currently has one vacancy and we have two applicants. So I'm here today to just see which one of you folks would like to interview them. And if we could possibly nail down a time next week so we can call them.
You want to do it with me, John?
I'll be glad to. Now, I've given Candace a couple of times this week, I think, didn't I?
Perfect.
I did.
The 30th after.
That's this week. Next week. The 4th and 5th, I think, didn't I, right?
Oh, yeah, that was the start.
Yes, you said this, yeah, the 4th and 5th in the PM.
I'll be happy to do that. Okay. John.
Joe.
Whoever's closest. You can check with John, me, and Chuck and see who's. Wow,
We can only have two of you.
I know.
Wherever two or more are gathered.
We all want to hear from this applicant.
Okay. Chuck and Julia, you want to handle it?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna make it a done deal. We ain't. I'd rather it be a done.
I
deal.
think you're gonna like the applicants.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, and then Chuck has an additional.
Right, Anthony and I have interviewed two candidates for the Waynesville Housing Authority. There is an immediate vacancy. There will be 3 vacancies on July 1st. So, and one of the applicants would prefer to start on July 1st. So I'm recommending, and Anthony and I are both recommending Amanda Singletary. Probably you know her from 20 years at Smoky Mountain News. That's the office candidate. But she's very qualified.
Yeah.
And she will provide a connection with Mountain Project. She is currently the Section 8 housing coordinator there. So this is kind of a joint effort, I think, of the Housing Authority and Mountain Project to bring those two things together. So she's very interested in learning. And Amanda she has a master's in human resources from U.S. and she's really engaged and wants to learn more, that sort of thing. So very impressive.
I did say-
I would move that we, appoint Amanda Singletary to the Winslow Housing.
Second.
Okay, got a second, Julia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can we go ahead and talk about Colleen Davis and appoint her for the July?
Well, I don't know.
Can we go ahead and reappoint?
Yes.
For July? Colleen is an amazing person. She has lots of experience. I think all of us know her. She used to own a business on Main Street. She has many years of experience in hospitality, and she knows how to read an income statement, which is pretty amazing. So I would wholeheartedly make a motion to approve her for the Waynesville Housing Authority starting on July 1st.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And we're interviewing one other candidate. I've spoken to, just for everyone on the board, I've spoken to Brian Cagle, who's going off the board, along with Bucky Dykes and Don Gowan. And they are concerned and really would like people with some financial experience. And the other board members who are currently on the board would appreciate that. So if you can think of anyone, a banker or a financial consultant, someone who is very familiar with the financial end of things, they would really appreciate it.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, we'll move on to communication from the staff. Rob, you have anything? No, sir. Okay, any news about my Obama Park landscaping?
Yes, sir. I can help you with that.
Yeah, okay. I assumed you did that.
I
pretty much
asked,
what we like.
I asked that the staff is in the busiest part of the year.
Right.
And that's a kind of a tough hill, so I asked if they contract with a landscape company, possibly a hydro seeding company to try to make sure that's done correctly. We don't have that much experience with that type of thing, so we're gonna follow that.
Yeah, they can.
And they may have done that today. I got it
on the ball.
Yeah, I got an email saying done. I don't know which of the many things I asked him to do that he did, but I'm hoping that was what he did. Okay. But I think we're looking at, trying to get it. We're certainly gonna get the project protected. Yeah.
I just would love to see some kind of ribbon cutting over there.
Yes.
Because, this is something that is really going to be a benefit to that community, but we need to get it to where they can use it.
We've completed the fire department finance improvements, and my suggestion would be that we look at our calendar and invite Senator Corbin down and thank him for the room that he did for us here in this building as well as the fire department. Okay. We'll check in with his schedule since our assembly's in session.
All right. Okay, Mr. Town Attorney.
No, I do not have any additional, things to share with the board other than to apologize for the size of the agenda packet due to that trust dissolution.
It was only 600 pages, and we're not kidding.
Yeah, no, that was, I had to include the petition, and apparently Wells Fargo thought it needed to include every single document it manufactured inside of 20 years with the petition. So blame Wells Fargo, it's not my fault.
I'm still reading it, just still reading it.
Okay, so that's good for you.
I'm all finished,
You're
thank
good.
you.
Okay, we'll go with communication from staff, and I'm going to start us off on something really good. I and I don't think that the media probably needs to push this out there yet. If you
Let me get my reporter.
But, I got a call this afternoon from Lake Silvers from Congressman Edwards' office. And first of all, I want on record to state that our local legislator that we asked to help get funding for the fire department has did nothing. We have not even got a letter back or a comment back from that office. And so I highly praise Chuck Edwards' office that he's on the appropriations committee And like I say, he called me this afternoon. It's not a done deal, but he's compromised with the other guys and that he's got it down to where that he can get us $2,970,000 for the fire department. So that's close to $3 million. So you can't complain a little bit. Now, I know we was asking what for.
I asked for 6.
6.
I'll take
But
whatever.
please, this is not a done deal, but I feel like it is a done deal with Congressman Edwards, having his, representative give me a call this afternoon before the board meeting. But I think that is some good news for the town and for the fire department, that we know that we've got some funding coming. Like I say, he's a member of the appropriations committee in Washington. So this is huge. This is huge for us, to take the burden off of the taxpayers, here in Waynesville by getting a chunk of money come like that. And I think somewhere along the line, we can finally find some money to finance the last if we have to. But like I say, it's not a done deal. He could get the rest of the money before it's over, but that's just something that he had communicated with his other folks in Congress there, that they whittled it to what they would allow him to come forth before us to say that we could get. So that is some good news I would like to give y'all. But I've been holding it back here for a bit today, but that's other than what John says about the art. I hope that you guys will advertise out there and try to get the street filled plumb to the red light down there, with the public coming out and seeing such a beautiful sight. I stood there till my head burned today, this afternoon, and I actually got to see, the wind blew a little bit and uncovered it, So I actually got to see a little bit of it, and it was a most beautiful sight. Again, I think it's going to be a historical time for everyone in Waynesville that has been praying and to get, the arch back, and it all started with a little Sunday school, what the choir, up in the choir with a lady speaking to someone that is over Division 14 DOT, and she made it happen. She made it happen for us.
She is going to speak, say
She's going to speak
words, yeah.
Yeah, and so Wanda Haynes is.
Awesome.
Wanda, no, Haynes.
Payne, yeah.
Haynes.
Wanda
Yeah.
Payne.
You said Haynes. Okay, Wanda Payne. But anyway, that's all I have, but I think that's some pretty good news. Chuck?
I don't have anything.
Julie?
I hate to end on a sour note, I just want to remind everybody, and I text everybody on Friday, that Jack Swander, our long time, years and years and years ahead of our ABC board, passed away Friday afternoon. And his replacement, of course, is Danny Wingate heading up the ABC board, but Jack's service tomorrow will be at 11 o'clock at Garrett Hillcrest, the memorial inside the their chapel up there on Russ Avenue. So he will be missed, and he's a dear friend of mine, and I'll refer to him as Uncle Jack. So
That's what we all refer to it as.
Uncle Jack will be missed, and he served this town very well for many, many, many years.
Yeah, I have no idea how many years he was on the ABC board, but it was a long time he was on there, and he watched every penny.
Oh my God, he watched every camera every day.
He wants to, that too, so he kept he run a tight ship up there.
He was instrumental in the building the new building up there at Walmart, and was working until he died, hoping to actually get a second store here in Waynesville. So
Anthony?
You want to go, John?
No.
Oh, I was just at the end.
Yeah, okay. I went to the North Carolina Transportation Summit, was very, very fruitful. Again, I would like to thank Congressman Chuck Edwards' office for being willing to work on transportation issues in our region. And he does so in a very bipartisan way that he benefits the citizens of the community, and he doesn't think about politics per se. He's thinking about the good of the people in our community, and I'd like to thank him for that. But we have a deficit in Division 14 that we'll be learning more about tomorrow. So, but there are other good things that are happening.
Yeah, I have to go. Someone contact me about that. That's what's up, and I've got to follow up on that.
Okay.
Yeah. John? Anything?
Mr. Mayor, I apologize. I meant to add a community forum to the calendar.
Add what now?
There's a community forum.
I emailed an invitation to everybody on the board about forum that we're making for Tuesday. And I get our student order into the meeting. I wasn't sure if I would be able to send it to a notice prior to all of
Yeah, June the 5th, that's next Wednesday.
Wednesday. It'll be at the gym of the division.
What time?
5:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
And we're just gonna sort of a follow-up to the community visioning forum that we did at Wells. Just to circle back around and present to the district, the plans that came out of that, the vision to develop through that process. Be able to explain a little bit about who we are and what we're responsible for. Kind of a refresher on this thing. Do a quick presentation and then about our presentation time for public comment.
Okay.
Who wants to attend?
We
have to get a head count from the council. If more than 2 of us want to attend, we have to do it.
Okay. Chuck, does anyone want to volunteer because I have 2 people?
I'll be there.
Oh, you'll be
Oh,
there.
then that's 2. I don't think we want to have a public.
Okay, so Julia and John. Oh, you guys.
Chuck and John.
To be,
Chuck and
so
John.
you're saying you don't, I mean, you're fine not going to.
Yeah, if 2 members go, I'm fine with.
Okay, so
You know, that way we don't have to have a.
advertising. And
Yes.
about somebody here.
And I don't really count, but I'll come.
Just to be fair. I wanted
Yeah.
to see who wanted.
Also, I want to run something by you. This is on a sad note. This past weekend, I was I was at Lake Shaku, and when the storm hit at 5 o'clock in the morning on Memorial Day morning, and there were trees blown down in our campground, and then the next campground over was Inland Point. This is where the girl, I had no idea. I heard it was a kid that lost her life due to a tree falling on it. I had no idea until I got back home that it was one of our own here at Tuscola cheerleader, Kara. I can't remember her last name, but it's Kara. Yeah, lost her life there. She was visiting with a friend there, and in that park, and the tree fell on their camper there. But what I'm asking for is everyone to please keep their parents, grandparents, friends, and in prayer. Rob and I both have been through losing a kid. It's very, very difficult, and so these parents, they need our prayers right now during this time. I wanted to say that earlier in a meeting while everybody was out there, but I just I held my tongue. But right now I couldn't hold my tongue because this is something that we all need to pray about. These folks are very much mourning the loss of their daughter that would have graduated this Friday. So it was a sad day over there. But again, I didn't realize it was someone from our own community till I got home. So everyone pray. And I'll ask for a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so loud sign.